Have you heard about the smartest cities in the world? Have you ever thought about the smartest cities in the world? Have you ever had an idea of which city is the smartest in the world?
So these are all cities, and it could be in any country.
In any country. These are cities throughout the world that are described as the smartest cities. And you would think that some of them would have the best colleges in the world, but some cities don't.
And is this how smart is a city based on its population, or how smart they are as a city? Like if you have a smart home, like it's based on the people, right? I think. What do you mean?
Well, the criteria is related to economic vibrancy and quality of life.
So that's how is that smartest?
I don't know.
I guess it's the smartest to live there.
Yeah, I guess. I guess.
Well, I mean, I guess you are smart if you live in a country like that, right?
Right. I found this top 10, and it says this city, I don't want to give it away just yet, has been named the world's smartest city. And then I think we're not going to be in agreement on this city and being top. So let's start really quick.
Okay.
Number 10, Chicago.
Okay.
Illinois.
Chicago, number
United
10
States
in
of
the
America.
most smart cities in the world.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Number 9. Oh, you want to say something? What?
No. Let's go.
All right. Number 9, my city, the 415, San Francisco.
Okay.
I don't know if are you sure this is smartest or homeless?
Maybe they have the smartest homeless population, which is
maybe that's the thing.
Okay.
So numbers.
Number 8.
Number 9, San Francisco. Number 8, we're gonna go across the pond to Amsterdam, the Netherlands.
Okay, they smoke weed. They're smart.
That's number 8. Number 7, Oslo in Norway.
Okay.
It's cold as fuck there. Number 6, it's in Asia.
It's in Asia. Singapore?
Singapore is number 6. Number 5, back in Europe.
Okay, Germany.
Okay, you got the country. Now it's a city.
Oh, it's a city. Okay, Hamburg, Munich.
I think it's close.
Close.
Berlin.
Berlin. Okay.
Berlin, number 5. Number 4, back to Asia.
Back to Asia. Wait, when I said Singapore, that was a country. So
Right, they don't give the city. So this is
who the fuck made this top 10? This is one of those top 10. Okay, Singapore. Okay. Sorry.
Number 4, Asia.
Asia.
Smart.
City? Is it city?
It's a city.
Hanoi.
It's a capital of a country. Hanoi is. But
Taipei?
no.
Is it in Taiwan? No. Is it in China? Shanghai?
Let's go with Tokyo.
Tokyo, Japan. Let's go. Of course.
Number 3, they are your neighbors, basically.
My neighbors. So
Your neighbors.
France?
Paris, France.
Paris, France.
Number 3.
The rats
Number
are
2,
smart.
back in the U.S., big city,
Okay. New York.
New York City. And number 1, this one's interesting because I want to know what you think about
US or where is it?
Europe.
Europe.
Somewhat close to you. It's an island.
The UK.
London, England.
London, England. Hey! That's the smartest city?
So London, England, according to the IESE's Cities in Motion Index.
Every time we do these top things, it's always like, who the fuck did this tops? Because, like, I don't think they're putting them as a smarter order. I think it's like smarter cities to live in, like where economic things are going well, I guess.
It kind of makes sense because of the criteria that they're using, economic vibrancy and the quality of life. So yeah, maybe that's what they're going with. But I don't know if living in New York or San Francisco where rent is crazy high. Well, I guess London is as well, in Paris.
You know what they could be meaning? Cities that are smart in itself. So what does this mean? Like you go to Oslo, Norway. You don't even have to put the ticket in the subway, right? You just go in because people have a
They trust
culture.
you.
Yeah, like the things work so well and everything's so efficient that it's almost like a smart city. You know how people have a smart home where like you just tell it, put this light on, start baking this, whatever. I think it's a city where it's so convenient to live in. The city itself is considered to be smart. All right, so let's start with where you want to go. The bottom again?
Sure, we can just go through
Okay.
it really quick. Chicago.
Chicago. I mean, from what I understand, Chicago has a lot of crime and it's not the best place today. But I mean, in the news, they show you the bad side. Chicago, Kanye West is from Chicago.
What does
He's-
that mean?
Well, I mean,
He's smart.
He's smart in his
He's
own
smart.
way. you know, Chicago Bulls, right?
Right. Michael Jordan.
I know that there's an economics school in Chicago that's very important where like Milton Friedman and Thomas Sowell went, like big economists and shit. So, I would actually say that Chicago is the place where a lot of smart people came from. So in this case, I would actually use the original meaning that we thought of smartest cities in that I think people are smart in this city. There's a lot of combination. There's a lot of different cultures that came together, and Chicago is one of the main hubs for commerce from the beginning of the U.S. Republic. So in that sense, I could see it. You've been to Chicago?
I have not. I have never been.
So I can't give a personal opinion.
I looked over the list again. I actually did my research this time instead of doing it before the episode. So the smart city, what what is defined as is an urban setting that applies technology to enhance the benefits and diminish the shortcomings of urbanization for its citizens. So yeah, what you're saying is what it was. People making their homes smarter, using Google and Amazon and whatnot. I think even Apple has one.
So it's like applying that same concept of a smart home, but to the city.
Right. So I guess electric cars or electric commute, biking, parks that are more, technology friendly because, what else? What else could be?
No, yeah, like access to multicultural things, but and not only multicultural, but
Other functional, maybe.
yeah, functional things, multifunctional things. Like if you're in a city where you can go watch the theater, right? The
theater?
yeah, when you get a little smarter. I mean, we're talking about smart cities, so the theater.
Theater.
Right? You go see, whatever, Hamilton, right? Or whatever the fuck it is. Then after that, you go to the Science Museum.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, you can, like for example, Paris is one of the top ones, right? I personally don't really have much of a intent in going there. I guess one time I will have to. But my cousin was there recently, and he told me that there's so many museums and places to visit that have like knowledge for you to learn. So I could see why Paris, would have that. They have, I think, the most important museum in the world. Some will consider the Louvre.
The Louvre.
And well, everything else.
So
pretty much.
it's funny because I did my research again.
You say it a lot, people.
And I found literally the same top 10. So, but made by another company. So another news company. This one's from NBC.
Okay.
And it says that the top 10 smartest cities in the world, and none are in the US.
Oh, really?
So this top 10 is completely different from the
Yeah,
one I
of
gave
course.
you.
NBC, they hate America. Could you go through the whole through the whole list rapid fire?
All right. Number 10, Abu Dhabi.
Okay.
Number 9, Helsinki, Finland.
Okay.
Number 8, London. Number 8, London. So there's a big difference there. Number 7, Lucerne in Switzerland.
Okay.
Copenhagen, number 6. Singapore again, number 5. Geneva, Switzerland. Canberra, Australia.
Australia.
Canberra. Oslo, Norway. And number one, you want to take a guess? It's in Europe?
In Europe. Iceland.
No.
Let
It's
me
a
get
small country.
small country. Let me get another one. Luxembourg.
Not that small.
Not that small. Okay. Okay. The Netherlands.
No.
All right. Just tell me.
All right. Switzerland, Zurich.
Oh, I thought you had mentioned it before. Okay. Switzerland.
Yes. So Switzerland is in this list three times.
In the same list.
In the same list, three different cities are.
Oh, okay, okay, three different cities. Okay, okay. Well, okay, this list makes a lot more sense to me. Although I don't like the fact that they didn't put some American cities, because I'm sure there's American cities that actually work very well.
I do think that San Francisco is very technologic friendly in that sense.
Okay.
You know, smart city and a lot of these companies are based here. So I wouldn't see why this wouldn't be a.
Would you say that, and this is a serious matter, if you solve the homelessness issue, and that wasn't an issue anymore, would you say San Francisco is a very modern, pleasant place to live in?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. It has a little bit of everything. Modern and old and a lot of bohemian people, and you got the community and
Okay.
you know, surfers. You have a little bit of everything. I
And
really like the city.
would you say that in terms of crime and feeling unsafe, that's only something that you would feel related to homeless in some situations, and without that, would you say, like, is it a serious, like, situation with crime, not related to the homeless, just like?
I think in this city, one thing goes with the other.
Right. Okay.
You know, a lot of the crime are unfortunately
By
of
homeless.
the homeless peeps.
Okay. All right.
Interesting list, because it's so different from the one I gave you previously, and I think the company that they take this data from is the same company because they named it. So
Well, you know what it was is that they took the data from the same company and then they interpreted the data to make a list
However the
based on the
fuck they want.
criteria that they thought would make the smart city. I mean, let me just caveat real quick. This list, and this always happens when we find lists. Maybe we need to open a business where we make real lists. If you say you're going to make a list of the smartest cities, in my interpretation, that means the cities that have the smartest people based on, I don't know, test or whatever the fuck, literacy. That's what I thought. Now, this is more into cities that are smart in themselves, because they're smart to live in. They give you all of these conveniences that allow your life to make sense, to be enjoyable, but also be practical and efficient, right? Canberra in Australia.
Australia.
In the first one, I was like, why isn't Australia mentioned? I haven't been to Australia, but I hear that those people over there, they're actually, you know, they have quite a nice system. They're isolated, but at the same time, they're connected with the world. And because they're not that big and they have a sea barrier where you don't get that much illegal immigration, they're able to keep their thing going on pretty cool. And then every so-and-so, they do a little haka dance. It makes it even nicer. So I was happy to hear Australia's included on that. I was happy to hear a lot of Nordic countries. You had mentioned Oslo, which is in Norway, but I think you mentioned another one. Copenhagen, that's in Denmark. And I haven't been into those countries yet, but I do know from like documentaries, from friends that are from there, those countries work very well. Very well. The Netherlands, I saw it in Amsterdam, but in general, the Netherlands is a country that works so well. They're really good at administering the city, you know? I mean, they were the Dutch Indies companies, the main transporter of goods back in the days of slavery and everything. I mean, not that they were the best slave ships, but just in general, they did cargo. The Asian countries, Singapore, I was happy to hear that one because I hear wonders of Singapore. I hear that it's like an amazing place. Most people speak English and things are very modern. Now, my only thing with Singapore is that because Singapore is a kingdom, It is ruled by a king, which in most cases does things that are beneficial to the people there. It is a kingdom where he is the one that rules and makes the decisions, and they have some tight rules. Like if you spit, if you throw gum in the street, you can go to jail.
Is that bad though?
It isn't bad. I don't mind it because I myself don't like disgusting pieces of shit. But it is a little scary when certain things are so strict, right? Like if you go to an Asian country and you enjoy THC, don't go there with THC. And this is coming from a THCer. People get killed for having a joint in Thailand. I mean, killed by the cops, no, but like killed legally. Like you get
By the
hung.
lady boys.
I mean, that's a whole different thing. It's not
still
the
a
same.
possibility though.
Yeah, it's possible too, but it's a different thing. Being killed by 3 lady boys, but not because they were hurting you with their face. It's because they fucked you all night, and by the morning, you're only a cylinder. Like that's it. Like there's nothing else left.
Are you surprised from this top smartest cities and no cities are below the border, the U.S. border?
I know this isn't the best answer for people, but no, I'm not surprised.
Okay. I hear that a lot of
Although Australia
cities
is south of the border, technically.
of the
But I don't know.
America.
I know what you mean, though.
I mean, I hear that I've never been, but from what I hear and what I read is that Santiago de Chile is a very tech forward city. The thing is that it's also too far down, maybe, and it doesn't have as many, I don't know, tourists or people going there for. It's still a South American country and still.
Yeah,
feels like a
I
third world
think
country.
Chile is super modern, perfect, and safe for a third
Not for
world country.
Venezuelans.
For a third world country, it's fucked. No, but I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, it's not. I mean, this is just facts. Like countries work efficiently or not. I mean, props to Chile. Chile and Uruguay are probably the best countries right now in South America. So props
Uruguay
to them.
has legal THC, right?
Yeah. I mean, not that that makes a country better or not, but shit. I'll beg,
helps.
I'll beg to differ. But
Certainly helps.
it-
I mean, when I
it-
moved to California and I saw the laws here, I'm like, let's go.
dun, dun. Yeah, I mean, there are countries south of the border. That is true. Now, I do have a theory, and I've always said this, right? South of the border, warm weather, and you can see this in the Caribbean, those cultures didn't have the need to always, have to be working because weather is nice, mangoes are falling off the tree. Chill out, bro. Now, if you lived north of the not the border, but north of the equator, right? Places are colder, like Oslo, like Norway, like Switzerland, like the Netherlands. You needed to be efficient if you wanted to continue living. You needed to be able to coordinate with everybody and create a system where we can take the snow and cold away and still live. And that is not easy. Cold and water fucks up structures. So for those civilizations to grow and become what they are today, they had to have a culture of hard work, communication, discipline, efficiency. Does that mean that us that come from the Caribbean are pieces of shit because we're a little bit lazier? No.
Yes. What?
It simply means that you need to be aware of that. And also, I mean, you can very much just not believe my theory, but that is the theory I stand by. And it makes sense. It makes sense to me. Like if you go to Norway, they get your passport and you're in the country quick because they're like, it's cold. We don't got time to waste. Now, if you go to Jamaica, it's like, hey, man, let me get, it takes a little longer.
I thought you were going to do the accent there.
I was going to, but I haven't practiced it too well. White
I've
boy
been
summer. I don't know. Have you heard Shed Hanks?
I've been to Copenhagen before, and it's a beautiful city. And at that time, I wasn't going for the technological stuff, so I wasn't like too worried about that. But about the train stations or the metro stations, I mean, I bought my ticket because I'm a good citizen, but the Latin American in me could have been like,
Right.
fuck these people. And I could have just
Right.
not bought shit.
And that's why they tried not to allow so many of you in.
Of, of what?
Of you.
Oh,
People,
okay, okay.
they don't allow that many of you in because they know that, that little
Let's see
Latin
that
America,
Venezuelan passport.
that
They're like,
that indigenous malevolent, coming through. But I respect countries that have strict laws and a system that's very, the Japan. What I love about Japan, and I'm happy that they're included there, Tokyo, is that they don't really have. I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't even think that a lot of their attitudes and the way that they behave is due to laws. Because I don't think they have laws that say don't bother the person next to you and don't throw things on the floor. I mean, I could be wrong, but I think it's a lot more having to do with their culture. And when things are respected and you live in a harmonious environment because people's culture make it happen that way, it's a lot more organic and it works better. You know what I mean? Like if you don't even have to put the rule, if people just do it because if you don't, it's shameful, that's beautiful. And I love that about Japan. Japan has this respectful, and I think that's what makes it smart. And if we talk about Tokyo, I haven't been again. I really want to go. But when you look at how so many people live in that place and are able to cross that famous street and nobody dies and things just function, you can tell that that is a country that's smart, or at least as a city that's very smart. I would say the whole country. As a city that's smart.
I think that's as a society, right? More than technology smart. And just going back to the beginning where we are saying that this top tens are based on just technologic stuff and how it's used throughout the city. And I see what you're saying. Tokyo seems to be a very organized, very polite society. That makes them, maybe that's book smart, you know, that they're very, and it seems like they are very by the book, and they're polite and they're clean and they're on time, and it's funny when you see like baseball players that come from Japan to the United States, and culturally they're very different
Conservative. They're
and
very clean cut.
clean cut. There's this player that bows to the umpire every time the umpire gives him a ball back, and he just like bows as a thank you. You know, it's not disrespectful. It's just more as a thank you and being courteous to the umpire. But yeah, I mean, you have to believe that Tokyo it's a very advanced city in more ways than technologically, or with its people, and yet their base is still very old school, very from their beginnings, and that's what makes it a very interesting culture, that it's very past friendly and then future friendly, and both of them go hand by hand, and it's pretty cool to see.
I'm sure that when we eventually go, we don't really have
Oh
that
yeah,
many listeners from Japan.
maybe we can do maybe we can do an episode.
An episode over there.
Yeah,
But so maybe when we go, we'll find out some things that aren't as cool from Japan. We only
maybe
talk
they don't
about
have
the
podcasts.
Yeah, podcast is illegal. Ah! But one thing that all of that you mentioned has to do with the culture, and then on top of that, you add the technological advances which they do have, and not only now. I mean, from the beginning of like after Second World War, they're the ones that dominate cameras. They dominate a lot of the watches. They dominate car industry. They dominate machinery. They dominate so many industries, and they're so meticulous about what they do. That, yeah, I mean, it's not only that there's a smart city because the culture is good, because the traditions are good, they're technologically more advanced than most countries in the world. And on top of that, they still stay humble, right? It's not like the US. We're number one, goddammit. They stay humble. They're like, hey, arigato, like chill. And I love that. I fucking love that. I swear to God, if I'm not able to have a kid with my wife, she's not my wife, but I just felt if I just say if I don't have a kid with this random girl, with my couple, if I don't have a kid with them because maybe my sperm is not good, then I will adopt a Japanese boy.
Interesting. I mean, just just because he was born in Japan, that doesn't make him, you know.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, if I raise him with my culture, he's still gonna be
Right.
fucked.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
so what I will do is
maybe adopt a 35-year-old
no, I
Japanese
will
kid.
adopt a 17-year-old Japanese boy. One that has already discovered like jacking off and shit. Like, I don't have to go through any of that. And now I got a kid that's my kid, but he has the culture of Japan. And he has to call me daddy.
Daddy or puppy?
I like both. Whatever he feels like that day. Daddy or papi. I like both. Big papi. I love it. I love it. I mean, these top 10, I find them to be a little bit wrong, but some of them are correct. And I think we're actually giving the context behind why they're correct. I haven't been to Switzerland, but you know what Switzerland does? They're autosufficient, self-sufficient. So what does that mean? They don't like exports. Now, it is true that this closes them in a way to the rest of the world, and there is a disadvantage in that. But there's also an advantage in you being able to produce all the food that your people eat. So in Switzerland, you might think, right, like, okay, these people are so advanced, they're rich. Why would you have a milkman, that has cows and creates milk? That's like low people job, right? Like, let's buy the milk from another country that's cheaper, and that's it. But they're like, no. We value the guy that works with cows in the farm, and we want to have that quality of milk that's done with love and in a certain way. And then we're proud of buying milk that's created in Switzerland, and bread that's created in Switzerland, and ham that comes from the pigs that we have in Switzerland. Now, aside from pride and having quality food that you know where it comes from, aside from all that, which is amazing, whenever there's a pandemic or some bullshit where the world is closed, you don't depend on exports from other countries. You're self-sufficient. Your own people can take care of each other without depending. Like when the COVID happened, so many people were fucked because all the chains of supplies were broken. Even the U.S., a lot of things had to come from China, and it's like, so what do you do now? You're fucked. You're not prepared to create, I don't know, potatoes or whatever the fuck. So Switzerland is smart in that way. We're not going to be in a bad position if the world stops exporting food, We have our own things. I mean, do they import and export some things? Yeah. But for the most part, 80% of what they consume, they make themselves. And I find that to be one of the most important things to follow. It's not closing yourself off to the rest of the world, no. But it's having your own dependency, creating your own thing so that you don't depend on the rest of the world for other things. So Switzerland, I'm with you.
Swiss power.
And they hide the money of the rich people. So that's cool.
I've never been to Switzerland before. I hear it's beautiful. And expensive.
My cousin just went there. Right now, he did a little Europe trip, except for Madrid. And yeah, he loved it, but he did say it's quite expensive.
Yeah. It makes you think what how maybe far behind the U.S. is from some of the cities. You want to think that the U.S., just because of being who they are, there would be more.
You know what's crazy? I think that at one point the U.S. could have been the smartest country in the world. Again, smartest as a system, not the people in it. And I think they've lost that across the years. And it has to do with culture. Even though there is two things that you wouldn't think are linked to each other. The fact that in the U.S., in so many main cities, you cannot go to a CVS or a local store to buy something without all of the things you want to buy being locked away because there's so much petty theft. Is that a city that you consider smart? A city that has to lock fucking, razor blades or shampoo? Now they have to lock the candy because the crackheads steal the candy to sell to the crackheads outside. I swear to God. Apparently, when you come off of fentanyl, the first thing you want is like a sweet. So they sell like candy bars and shit, right?
I didn't know this.
Yeah, and I mean, I've been looking at a lot of things in different cities with the homelessness and crime and all this. And the U.S. is becoming quite bad in that regard. So it's not smart. You have people that go to L.A. to visit from Europe, and if they don't know where they're staying, they're like, oh, shit, I thought we were going to the U.S., and you're in like a horrible place now, and you didn't even know.
Go ahead, sorry.
No, that's sad, and that makes it not smart at all.
since we were talking about the smartest cities in the world, I decided to look for the smartest countries in the world. This list it ranks by IQ score of that country, and they pretty much did it in every single country. That's how they ranked it. So out of 199 countries, you want to take a guess which is the least
Nah, that's fucked.
smartest? No, that's fucked.
Out of 200 countries, you want me to put the least smart?
The least. Do you have an idea of where an area, maybe a continent? Do you want to give it a guess?
I mean, I'm gonna give it a guess. I'm scared to say it, but I think it just has to do with like how much the country is developed, because that's where education really comes from. So somewhere in Africa, maybe South Saharan.
The least smartest country, Nepal,
Nepal, really?
in Asia. So apparently their average IQ score in Nepal is 42.99.
Fuck, that's like, I'm sorry, that's
That's not smart.
no, that's not only not smart, that's like mentally challenged IQ.
And then a bunch of countries after that do have that, what you said, Southern Sahara, African countries. Do you want me to give you Spain? Spain is in this list. It's not
Yeah.
highly ranked.
Where is Spain?
That's fuck. I had it here and now it went away.
Okay,
That's what happened.
No, that's fine. While you look for it, I wanna do clarify that this list you found is evaluating smartness based on IQ level, right? So intellectual,
This list is-
intellectual coefficient. No, I just want to clarify that IQ, even though there are tests that say IQ comes from biology, meaning your genes, there is also a big part of IQ that comes from your upbringing and what you're taught, right? Your education. So some of these countries might be skewed because they don't have the infrastructure to have an educational system. So that could be causing it. However, there I do hear and I've read that there is a component that's biological. So for example, in the Jewish community, they tend to have a higher IQ, which some of it is their traditions and their culture, but also genetically could be the case. Sorry, go on.
Spain, 93.9 on IQ test. They are ranked 45
In
out
the
of
world.
200 countries in the world.
93.9. Okay.
It's not bad.
It's not bad, but I mean, they are. Okay, so they're in, out of 200, they're in the 45th place.
Yeah.
Okay, so top 25% countries. Okay, not bad.
The smartest Latin American country,
Oh, let me take a hit at that. Argentina. No? Then
No,
Chile. Chile.
I think you're gonna be surprised with this one. It's not Chile. It's not.
Are we looking at
Argentina.
all of Latin America, including Central America and Mexico?
anything south of the border?
Of the US, okay. Smartest country by IQ in Latin America. All right, let me take a wild guess of Rooney. Brazil? Is that even included?
Negative, sir. Negative. 67th place,
Okay, who is it?
Costa Rica.
Costa Rica, that was my next guess. Okay.
There's maybe population size has to do with a lot of this. Costa
It
Rica is a
matters.
small country, compared to Spain, for example. So how can you base one from the other?
Yeah, it's hard to compare
Having
in
it-
that sense, but it makes sense that if you have a smaller place and everybody's gathered in that one city, everybody's going to take advantage of whatever educational system the government puts in place. When you look at a country that's bigger, that lives more around the country, the rural areas are always going to be disadvantaged than the main city. So that could be a case. Because I think Costa Rica, I mean, it has a lot of places, but the main population lives in the San Jose.
San Jose.
San Jose, yeah. So I think that could be
88.3.
88.3 average. Okay. Where's Venezuela in there? Just for shits and giggles.
You want to give it a? You want to?
No,
give it a
I don't
hint?
want to because then
Shot?
I'm gonna say something bad.
So this was interesting because Colombia is 100. Venezuela is 101.
IQ.
IQ of 82.99.
Oh, you
So
mean that
on
the,
the
100th place?
100th place, 100th rank, and then Venezuela is 101. Colombia
Okay.
is
Damn.
100.
Colombia is always trying to beat us, bro.
Can we start like a little feud with
Like a
them?
little
I
fight.
love them.
We need to have a Colombian podcaster come through and we can talk about all these things.
Colombia, 100th place, 83.1.
Damn.
Venezuela, 82.9.
Fuck, that's
So it's not
borderline.
that.
That's
I mean,
borderline
it's,
Down syndrome, bro. Like I'm not even. Like that's no for real. Like the military does not hire anyone with an 83 IQ or lower because they feel it will be useless.
I I can see why we are that low. You know, I can see where it can go a little bit good for us and being 101 out of 200.
All right, let's go up
You
the
know,
list. Let's go up the list. Let's see.
you want
Let,
to go
let's go to the top five.
top five. All right, top five is. Do you want to give it a shot? Because all these countries are
No,
from the
no, no.
same
I
area.
think people might be hearing like "fuck you" and your shots. Just go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then we'll analyze those.
All right, number five. Remember, this is countries with the highest IQs in 2024. So number five, China,
Okay.
104, 104 score. Number four, I don't know if this one counts as number four because number four and number five. Hong Kong, number four.
Well, you mean because Hong Kong is part of China?
Right,
Well, some people will be mad if you said that.
right. So that's
They have their own thing. Okay.
105.3.
Okay. Average IQ. Okay.
Number three, we have talked about this country before. Singapore,
Oh. Okay.
105.8.
Okay.
Number two, Taiwan, 106.47.
Taiwan. Okay.
And number one, do you want to give it a shot?
Yeah.
You
Number
wanna
one.
guess? Number one,
India. Am I going to? No.
Japan.
Japan. Of course. Damn. Japan has the
Japan.
highest IQ.
106.48. So they beat Taiwan by 0.01%.
So pretty much, if the U.S. is smart because they're like, look, Japan and Taiwan, you guys are our friends. Where is the U.S. in this?
29th.
Okay.
29th with a 97.43 IQ. I mean, after number six, which is South Korea, the following countries are European. Smartest European country, Belarus.
Belarus.
Belarus, 101.6. They're seventh. So yeah, I mean, after that, it's all a bunch of European countries, and then back to Asia. Canada, very smart, 16th place.
Okay.
The United Kingdom, very smart. North Korea, smarter than the US.
North Korea is smarter.
22nd place, 98.82%.
I don't
So
know how
not
North
bad.
Korea could be smart if they don't let them do like studying. But again, I don't know how
Right.
they really live. But
Right.
it's crazy because IQ. I mean, this is from what I've read. Not everything that I mean, could be that, if you have different opinions, please let us know. But I know I've heard Jordan Peterson and a few other writers talk about it where they say that, yeah, like I said, biological genes and stuff, that's part of your IQ. But then if you're born with a very high IQ, but you're in a rural area where there's no schooling, there's no official education, and you don't develop that IQ, it won't go higher. On the other side, somebody that has a lower than average IQ, but is put in a situation where he has a lot of rearing, right, education programs and things, he can raise that a little bit. Another interesting fact here: the firstborn child of a family has the highest IQ of the children. So, for example, you and me,
You and I are,
as dumb as we are apparently.
we do a podcast. I'm a chef sometimes.
Yeah.
You have your job. My sister just graduated med school.
Yeah, I mean, In your case, it seems like your sister will have the higher IQ. But based on the science, it says that the firstborns have a high advantage when it comes to IQ. So it could be that you did get that advantage, but your sister was born with such higher IQ that even with that disadvantage is more than yours. That's an explanation. But the reason why is you firstborn gets a lot more attention than the next kids. Like, isn't that a crazy? Not crazy, but it's very interesting. Like, that attention that your parents give you is so important. And you know, after the first child, who has the highest IQ?
The third one.
No, the single child.
Oh, the singer.
So if you're a single child, even though that comes with its own disadvantages in other places, right? Like socializing and stuff. Because I think having a brother or sister helps you socialize and have someone to play with. But if you're a single child, you're going to have a much higher IQ. You're probably going to be a loner and you have a higher chance of being like a school shooter, but you are going to be smarter. So, you know, God takes and gives.
I found this on why, like, answering questions on why the IQ scores are like this. So why do Asian countries have higher IQ scores? And then the answer is because the IQ scores factors or emphasizes in education, culture, and genetic factors. So it makes sense why, Japan, Taiwan, Singapore, even China have such high IQ
it's a
scores.
combination, you know? So, like, for people that, are afraid, like, what if I have a low IQ? Well, it's just one part of it. The other part is how you use that IQ and how you improve it, right? So you can it is true you cannot go that much higher, right? I mean, you cannot become Einstein by just reading. There is a biological factor. But then the other factors, right? The environment that you're in matters so much. You know what also affects IQ? What you ate from age 1 to 5. The nutrients that's why it's so important. That's why it's so horrible countries that have malnourishment on kids. And that's why it's so important. When people talk about world hunger, really it's about those kids that are just born and in the first 5 years of their life, if they don't get enough nutrients, their brains are not going to develop and they will have a low IQ by default. Not even because that's how they were born, but that's because they didn't get the nutrients. Little things like that, Like I see, I'm not here to share information about how you raise your kid, but I do know that, you guys are very interactive with your kid and want him to learn things, instead of just being in the TV or the phone. You want them to like look at things, fit, look at shapes, look at all of that shit is so important when a kid is small, even if he doesn't remember it, because that's going to open up all the lanes in the brains. So attention, being attentive to your kid is so important. I'm just coming from a person who doesn't have a kid, but wouldn't you agree? That's so important.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
Sometimes it matters more than if he was born smart or not. If you do everything else, that person's going to have the skills in life to power through. But what I wanted to get to is that it's interesting to see places like Japan, where not only do they have a genetic component of coming with a higher IQ than average, but then they also embrace it. And they have a system that incentivizes people overachieving to the point where sometimes they have an issue of people suiciding because they feel too much pressure. In South Korea, too, it's a similar situation where they have so much discipline, so much expectations that sometimes they get depressed and then they kill themselves. So we don't want to push it that far, but we do want to create a system with incentives and meritocracy. To give it a little bit of a happy ending or controversial ending, DEI. Have you heard of this?
DEI?
It's like a program that they open in campuses or in schools or in jobs. It's called diversity and inclusion. So it's like a role that a group of people have in an institution where their purpose is to make sure that the body of people that work there are diverse and inclusive. And to me, that goes against meritocracy. Actually, Dr. Phil's book talks about this. You are, considered Latino, right, in the U.S., and you're a chef, renowned around the world, culinary patents, Michelin restaurants. if you go try to get a job, right, in a really good restaurant, would you think that they are going to look at you and say, oh, he's Latino, he's gonna be good for diversity and looks? Or are they trying to find out if you can cook the shit the best as possible? What do you think they're looking for?
Definitely who can cook the shit the best as possible.
Do you think they give
I
much of a fuck where you from?
No, no. And that's what some of when we do interviews for a restaurant, we call it stash, where you come in and you spend a couple hours with us, and then we can see your knife skills, and maybe we can ask you to cook something for us, and that's how you can take who's best at that job, and not just by reading the resume. Because I remember after I went to Spain, I had that mentality where like, I went to Spain, I worked at this Michelin star restaurant, I'm gonna get hired anywhere. But then you see that if you're not good at those skill sets, then they're not gonna hire you, no matter where you worked before. So yeah, for sure. If you know, I'm a Latino boy that can cook steak better than you, why wouldn't they hire me? And
Right. And if a white
yeah,
guy comes and he's better at cooking the steak than you, then he should get the job.
right, right.
I mean, I want you to get the job in this time, but I'm saying in general. And I think that a lot of what these countries that are the smartest ones are good at is at having a strict meritocracy. I mean, it is true that in Japan and South Korea, they all look the same, so it's a little bit easier. But in the US, when you try to push having certain amount of this minority and you put meritocracy as a second, priority, how the fuck are you gonna reach the top in the world? Like, I don't want to be hired in a place because I'm Latino. I want to be hired because I'm the best. If I know that I was hired because they needed to fill in a quota, I will feel horrible about it. I'm like, this is not deserving. I don't want this bullshit. I want to be hired because of who I am, because I'm KIKO and I have these fucking skills, or I don't. And that should be it. That should be it. And I think that, I don't want to turn this political because it isn't, but I think that part of this competition in the world of being the most innovative, being the smartest, being the most productive, being the most efficient, only happens if you have a true meritocracy. That's why sports are amazing in that sense. We don't give a fuck what you look like. Can you do that shit better than the rest? And if that's the case, that's all we care about. You know why? Because if we started to care about your color and not your skills, and then we end up hiring people that aren't really good, then what happens? Then we lose the fucking games. You know what I mean? Like, competitive scenarios don't give a fuck about that because they can't afford it. I cannot afford caring about your looks for my business to survive. I can only afford caring about your productivity and your skills. Otherwise, the market will kick me out and I will go bankrupt. And I think that's really the message of this podcast is that the most beautiful thing we have as a society and as a Western society, that is that we value people for what they can do. That's it. And like Martin Luther King said, which apparently seems to be misogynistic today or some shit, or racist, it's like, we should be judging each other by the content of our characters. And that's it. And not by the color of our skins. And that means not having DEI or affirmative action. No, it means whoever can do the job best gets the job. And that should be it.
Are you trying to be a politician?
Yeah, I'm trying to run for president, but I don't know if they'll allow me.
No, you're Latino.
No, but
You're
I mean,
white.
from you, I mean, you come from a world of the kitchen where I love it because it's not like a corporate job where you have to go and lie in an interview. No, like you show them what you got. And based on that, you get or not get the job. How do you feel about that? I mean, are you happy about that? Do you like it that people look at you through their skills? Have you been somebody that in a point they're like, oh, we needed Latinos to fill in? How does that make you feel? Like,
No, I've never felt that way before in a restaurant setting where I'm the minority, because actually I'm always on the on the majority of what's in the kitchen. In the Asian restaurant I used to work at before, there was a period of time where there was no Asians working in the kitchen, and we were making Asian food, and it was mainly Latino cooks, and then a couple of the whites and a couple of the blacks. But you know, it's I have never felt that that had been a requirement. I have heard in this restaurant, like, oh, we don't have Asians working here, so maybe that's a quota that they needed to reach for. I don't know. I'm just talking shit here, but it could be something that certain owners perhaps look at that.
I mean,
We're
it
a
could
restaurant that
be.
we're-
It could be that because they were serving Asian food, you might want to have one Asian cook, right? Because like,
Right.
I mean, I understand that because you know in New York you go to a Italian restaurant de la mamma, and when you go in the back, it's a bunch of Salvadorians, which is fine, but you're like, that's not the nona, you know?
Right.
That's my
not the
nona.
nona that you guys lied to me about. Yeah, maybe I have never been part of that. You know, oh, you're not French, or you're not. Maybe not in that sense, but I have felt like racist comments towards me just because I'm from South America, but mainly in Spain. Nothing against my Spanish friends.
But you know, they did have a little bit of a way of doing things in that restaurant. No, but what I mean more is like, how would you feel if you were trying to get into a job? Maybe don't look at experiences you've had, but like hypothetically. And part of the reason why you might get the job is not because you're better than the other candidate, but because you fit a quota. How would you feel?
Damn, it would suck, right? I think it would suck because maybe you're not the best at the job. You're just, like you said, feeling the quota. Yeah, it kind of makes you feel, I guess,
like sweet and sour, right?
Right. You
Like
have
this
the
is not
position.
something I really won or whatever. Like
Okay.
that's how I would feel. I'm like, I didn't win this. Like I don't like handouts, you know?
Yeah, I don't want to feel like I'm second choice to anyone. You know, if you want me because of my skills or what I can bring to the table, but not because you want to fill a fucking quota about white Latinos in your kitchen.
Yeah. I don't even think they're looking for quotas for us. When they want a Latino, they don't look for one like us.
They just hear your accent. They're like, oh, you're one of those.
You one of them. All right. Well, hope you guys like this. What do you guys think about DEI? What do you guys think about affirmative action? Are we today in a time in the world where these ideas are, you know, obsolete? I think so. I think we live in a world where we don't really give a fuck about each other's colors or whatever. We just want to have the best people do the job. And we want to be with friends that bring us the most joy, regardless of where they're from. And I think that's how life should be. We should give a fuck about the personality, about the individual, not about the group. That's antique way of thinking, and I hate that, okay? Chef Maurice, Direct Connection, San Francisco, Madrid. Keeping it real. It is June, so you know it's our month. The community's out. Let's make it cute. Let's make it pretty. Peace.